Hi guys, so this video is just in case I am not here today because of my little baby having a fever. And if I am here today, well, now you just have an extra tutorial video if anything didn't make sense today in class. So today is once again going to be on paper notes. If I'm not here, that means I'm just going to check 2 homeworks tomorrow, which I'll go over at the end of this video. And if I was here, I've already checked your homework, so I've gone over questions. So yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and get to our notes. So today's notes, we are going to review more factoring, but the primary focus of today's notes is to talk about synthetic division. That's what I'll title these. So synthetic division. Okay, synthetic division, you guys have talked about before. We did this in Algebra 2, but I do need to bring back all those memories and then talk about how we're going to still factor at the very end of the problem. So there's 2 types of problems you can have when we're talking about synthetic division. The first one, I could just ask you to divide. To divide, you don't have to do anything after you're done, and this just will help me review the process of synthetic division. So I'm going to say dividing using synthetic division. When we ask you to divide using synthetic division, you actually do not need a remainder of 0. That's something I'm going to talk about in the next section of our notes, that you will have to have a remainder of 0. So the only note I'm going to make here is that you do not need a remainder of 0. So let's show you what I mean by that. So my first example, we're going to do a couple examples in this section. And I know we haven't taken any other notes to review the process, but in my first example, I will go over every little bit of synthetic division. So my first example that we're going to do is in parentheses, 2x to the 4th minus 5x squared plus 5x minus 2. And we're going to divide that by x plus 2. So 2x to the 4th minus 5x squared plus 5x minus 2, and we're going to divide that by x plus 2. So the first thing we're going to have to do is find our root, our 0, our x-intercept, whatever you want to call it, and that is going to be what you're dividing by. So if I say divided by x plus 2, that means I'm going to take x plus 2 and set it equal to 0. So I would just subtract 2 from both sides, so I get x equals negative 2. You don't have to show that work. I'm just showing you that so you know where I got it from. But that's going to be a little number that you put in this little box in the upper left-hand corner, negative 2. And while we're going through this, I'm going to make some notes that this is your root, or your x-intercept, or your 0, whatever you want to call it. But that is the root. Then the top row in line with your root after that box are going to be your coefficients. So my coefficients, let's see, I have a 2 in front of my x to the 4th. After x to the 4th should be an x cubed. Well, I don't see an x cubed there. So if you are missing a coefficient, we are going to put a 0 in its place. Then in front of x squared, I have a negative 5. Then in front of x, I have a positive 5. And my constant is negative 2. So this top row are going to be your coefficients. I'm going to write this down. So these are your coefficients. So coefficients from the polynomial. See on the screen. And I'm going to make a little note here is to use 0 for any missing terms. So since my x cubed was missing, that's why I have a 0 between 2 and -5. Okay, so now we're actually going to start with the process. To start the process, you're going to leave like a blank line, a blank row, and I'm going to put a line underneath that. So notice how I left space for another line of numbers because we will be filling that out. I'm also going to put a line underneath my last coefficient. So like that, you don't have to do that. You just need to know that last number is going to represent something. So the way that we're going to get started is we're always going to start by dropping down the first number below the line. And I'm going to go ahead and make that note. So always drop down. Oops. So always drop down the first number to start. So to begin synthetic division, you're always going to drop down the first number to start. So see where we're at with time. Okay, so after you drop down the first number to start, when you're below the line, which my 2 did just become below the line, you're going to multiply with the number in the box. So I'm going to make that note. So below line equals multiply with the box. So if you're below the line, which that 2 is now below the line, I'm going to multiply with the box number -2. So 2 times -2 is -4. And notice how I put the -4 in the next opening of the line. So right below 0, I put the -4. So then another note I'm going to make is when you're above the line, so above the line, you're going to add stacked numbers. So above the line, I'm going to add stacked numbers. So what I mean by that is now that I did 2 times -2 to get the -4, now I'm going to add the stacked numbers 0 plus -4, which is -4. And then this becomes rinse and repeat. So when you're below the line, I'm going to multiply with the box. So -4 times -2 is +8. Above the line, I'm going to add. So -5 plus 8 is 3. Below the line, multiply with the box. 3 times -2 is -6. Above the line, add. 5 plus -6 is -1. Below the line, multiply with the box. -2 times -1 is +2. And above the line, add. -2 plus 2 is 0. Which, when we start factoring in just a minute, that is going to be the number that you want at the end is 0. But right now, we don't have to worry about that. Okay, so to make a couple more notes, and then we'll end this video, and I'll talk about the final answer and do another couple examples, because each video is only 10 minutes long. The number that I just got at the end is the remainder, and all of these numbers is actually going to be my final answer. This is my final answer, believe it or not. And it starts 1 degree less than the original polynomial. So I'll talk about what that looks like in the next video. And then this 0 is something called the remainder. And the remainder we are going to write as remainder all divided by the factor. So this is the factor, and that is the remainder. So I'll talk about that in the next video, and we will pick up from there. So see you in the next video.